Welcome to Turner's Take on Sports with me, Turner Enderley, along with my dad, Dave Enderley. We will be doing a World Cup edition, and I hope you guys have enjoyed the World Cup as much as we have. So let's get started.
Yeah, it's been a very exciting World Cup. It doesn't come around but every 4 years. Too bad the Americans are not in it. But so far this World Cup, what has been impressed you the most about the World Cup, and what's been your greatest takeaway?
Well, I personally think France has looked pretty good in this World Cup, and same with Brazil and Belgium. I think that'll be one of the best games of the World Cup. But also, as a kind of Cinderella story, I think Russia has a shot at making at least the semifinals. I think they've looked pretty good.
And what were you telling me earlier before we got started, that the Russians, no team host country has ever made it this far in the World Cup before?
I think they haven't made the semifinals, but I think one other team had made the quarterfinals, but still impressive for Russia to make it this far.
Yeah, definitely a lot of people did not have Russia going this far. So who is, everybody likes to know your predictions. So we're coming into, after today, we'll be through the last game of the round of 16. But before we go on the air, we don't know the result of that game. But who do you see winning ultimately in the championship and then winning it all in the World Cup this year?
Well, I think personally, from the loaded side of the bracket with Brazil, Belgium, and France, I see Brazil making it because, they have Neymar, the superstar, and then they just have a good all-around team. They have Coutinho, Marcelo, Thiago Silva. It's just a good all-around team, and I think they are good at finding weaknesses in teams. I think they're going to find the weakness of Belgium in their back line. And in France, they're led by a 19-year-old, and they're going to have to find a weakness in him.
So you see Brazil coming out of the tough side of the bracket. Who do you see on the other side of the bracket?
So that side, I think any of the 5 teams, once it gets to after this round, one of the 4 teams left on that side of the bracket, all of them could advance. There's Sweden, Russia, Croatia, and then Colombia, England. One of them will advance, and one of them will not.
But you got to pick one.
So I think from that side of the bracket, I think it will be Croatia advancing, because I think they might get past Russia because of their star midfield with Luka Modric and Ivan Rakitic, and my prediction is that Colombia is gonna advance is gonna beat England, and then they're gonna beat Sweden, and then they're gonna play Croatia, and I think Croatia's just gonna win that match.
So Croatia, Brazil in the championship of the World Cup, and you have.
I think I have Brazil just because they're gonna find a weakness in Croatia, because they have a good midfield, but their back line is not that great.
All right, that'll make a lot of Brazilians, and I think yourself pretty happy. Vai Brazil! I think I said that right in Portuguese. Another topic I wanted to talk to you about is this has been really, when you get to the World Cup, this is also about a lot of superstars. So there's arguably the 3 best players in soccer these days. You mentioned Neymar, you got Messi, and then there's also Ronaldo. Who do you see as the best player in the World Cup this year of the superstar players?
Well, first of all, I'm going to start from the worst, and I'm clearly going to say Messi as the worst. I like Messi, but I think he just struggled. They knew that he's their whole team, and everybody just swarms him when he gets the ball, and he couldn't do anything when that happened. And his team also did not do very well. So I think that's part of the reason that I have him as the worst of the 3 superstars. Okay. And I think Ronaldo I have to put at second. I know he had a great personal performance with four goals in the World Cup, but his team got eliminated early and he couldn't carry him far enough. And then Ronaldo had the best personal performance, but if you factor in Neymar's, he played pretty well. He got a couple assists and a couple goals and just led his team. And his team has done better than both of those teams already. So I think if you factor in how good his team's doing and how good he's played, he's probably been the best. But not the best at the World Cup. I think Harry Kane's been the best at the World Cup so far. But I think he's losing today. But still, so far, he's been the best.
Yeah, it's been fun to watch these guys play at this level. So, what's been the most frustrating part of the World Cup from your perspective?
There's two frustrating parts. Number one is the yellow card hangover. How, like, let's say somebody gets a yellow card in the first group stage match, and then they get another one in the semifinals, and they win that game. That player suspended the championship game. Like, it's just not right that... I get if you get two in a game, that's a suspension, but if you get two in different games, it should not be a suspension. There's been multiple teams that have lost games because their players have been suspended by yellow card hangover. Just to name, I think Switzerland lost because of yellow card hangover because Stefan Lichtsteiner, their captain and key to their back line, was suspended in this game. That was earlier today. Spoiler alert: Sweden won 1-0, and I think that's just one. Just name one. That's just naming one team that's lost a game because of that rule. That's kind of pointless.
So what else has frustrated you this
And
World
the
Cup?
other thing is their seeding. There's two the uneven sides of the bracket. There's even been England, coach has his plan to throw the game against Belgium so that he could get on the easier side of the bracket. That's just not right.
It's not good sportsmanship.
It's not good sportsmanship. And also, I think there's an easy way to fix that. You just make the groups more even because some of them were not even. There was Portugal and Spain in the same group, and then there was like Brazil with like not a very good group with Switzerland, Serbia, and Costa Rica. I mean there's not another super team in that group, and they were just not fair. And then the matchups with the groups, like there's Colombia, England, and then there's Sweden, Switzerland. Like it's not exactly the most fair way to do it.
So you would reseed and get rid of the yellow card, double yellow card in the World Cup.
Yes.
From game to game. Those are two good suggestions. Hopefully FIFA's out there listening. Are you there listening, FIFA? Hello, Turner's take on this. But anyway, we just talked about World Cup. We're going to be coming to you next week with another great episode. Turner's pretty excited to talk about NBA free agency, but there was so much to talk about the World Cup. So bye Brazil, and we're off to the Cubs game. So until next time, thanks again for tuning in, and we enjoy doing this as much as hopefully you enjoy watching it. Thanks, and have a great 4th of July.